Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of MLB Round the Bases, normally hosted by Jeremy Hall Schooler. But this today, I am breaking in. Mr. Schooler is absent from the desk, and with me, as you can see from the screen, is Mr. Candid Frank Stanishi, the the king of news. I just want to remind you that this show is brought to you across the Spanglish World Network and Single TV's channel 249 and 250. Remember to go to the respective stores on iOS and Android to download the application of Single TV, where you will find outstanding programming from us as well as the other members of the Single TV family. Remember that Single TV can be acquired as well through Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Well, the MLB keeps being on the news, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not a pretty story. Well, we'll start with a pretty story because it's a story of probably one of baseball's newest members of the Hall of Fame once he retires in a couple of years down the road. And you know who I'm talking about. The only angel that actually is doing something for a living.
We are talking about Matt Scherzer, right?
No. It starts with M, but it's not Matt Scherzer. It's a gentleman by the name of Mike Trout.
Mr. Money. I mean,
well, no, because he's actually not as rich as Otani. But yes, he is. He's outdoing everything that can be done by a major league player. The 29-year-old is on a pace again to win another MVP award. His ratio of now the story with him is he has the lowest ratio of strikeouts, and it's unbelievable. There is no way to beat him. His bat is popping. His logging percentage is clocked at 775. His clip percentage is 515, and he has a 331 batting average, ladies and gentlemen.
It all adds up to the best start he's ever had.
Yeah, it adds up to Mr. Willie Mays. Here we come. We're coming after your title.
Well, there's some articles here that aren't so positive. That some anti-Trout people who say that he won't hit 400. But it'll be fun trying to watch him try. Yeah, you sign a big ass contract and then you enjoy the contract and maybe your game sort of dissipates a little bit. This guy, it looks good for him. I remember when. Well, never mind. We'll talk about that. He's a great player and he's playing well and he's playing the best he's ever played. So that's something good for him.
Well, and I just want to mention some other people amongst this list of great players that are having great years so far. And we're going to start with Minnesota's center fielder Brian Buxton. Brian Buxton is hitting 408, ladies and gentlemen. Outstanding slugging percentage of 444 and an 842 on base percentage. Not bad for a 27-year-old.
No, not bad at all.
And then we come to the king of the war. And the king of the war is a gentleman by the name of Ronald Acuna Jr. out of Atlanta, Georgia. Although he didn't have a great weekend when fighting against the Jays, but he is astonishing. The guy is on pace to steal 60 bases this year already. and it's unreal to see what he has done in his remarkable young career. Another gentleman, and I will talk about him a little bit later, but we know the name behind the Toronto Blue Jays this year, and his name is Vladdy Jr. And we'll talk a little bit more in detail with about him later on. So let's go back to what's making news in Major League Baseball. And a gentleman from the Miami Marlins, the Miami Marlins seem that unless they have COVID, something new comes up with them. And this time is, well, Paul Campbell, one of their star pitchers, has been suspended by Major League Baseball for 80 games due to an extensive use of anabolic steroids. Hey, how about that?
Still happening.
And we thought that COVID could be only done with the vaccine. No, it seems PED also works too.
Yeah, there you go. It'll always be around, and players, as long as people are convinced that they can hide the fact that they're using it, they will give it a try. There is a lot of money and a lot of pride at stake.
So
it's quite the motivator. I'd like to congratulate Matt Scherzer throwing a perfect game.
Go right ahead.
That's it. I did it. He threw a perfect game. Fantastic. Something that doesn't happen very often. We know a no-hitter is awesome. Perfect game's pretty good too. And he threw one, pitched all 9 innings. Good for him.
So just as Mr. George Springer comes back to the Blue Jays, so does he go away again. Now with a strained pull finger. Are we facing another Troy Tulowitzki story?
Yikes. It sure is looking like it, isn't it? I mean, this is from the get-go, Eduardo. I mean, he doesn't even come out of, a spring training with the team, right?
It's crazy.
They're saying it was fatigue too. What I'm hearing here, what the reports I'm reading is that they're saying it was fatigue as well, not just the finger.
It's crazy. I mean, the guy hasn't started a season. What he played for about 10 games in spring, and
he was the DH.
Yeah,
and he was the DH. So as far as fatigue is concerned, that's pretty. It's starting to sound like, I don't know.
There is more that they are not saying.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, how does he get fatigued? He's a DH. Is there something going on? I would be more concerned with COVID if he's fatigued. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Considering what he's asked, what he's been asked to do, and that's DH. Hit the ball, run to first, hit the ball, run around the bases. That should be something any athlete can handle, right? So I don't know how fatigue happens. Is fatigue because of what he's doing in preparation for the game, and because he's been out, he hasn't risen, I guess, to game shape. He's still in training shape. Okay, we'll try that. But at the end of the day, this is a professional and the highest paid player in the Blue Jays and one of the highest paid players in baseball. And he's suffering from fatigue. I don't know. Just when you hear that, it's alarming to hear something like that, Eduardo.
It's not just alarming. It's the idea that here we go again, and we had the issue with Troy Tulowitzki. We had issues with other players that the Jays have paid extremely amount of money for, and they just don't give the cut.
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. On the good news front, they swept the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, 100%.
Which is great. This is a team that now is above 500 by 2 games. What is it? 14 and 12, I didn't look
14
at
and 12.
I look at the standings. There it is. Okay, yeah. So they're at 14 and 12. That sweep put them over 500 and well ahead of 500. A team coming in, the Oakland Athletics, that has given them always fits except for the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what. That's when the Jays, of course, we're going back a few decades, Eduardo. The good old days of being a Blue Jay fan when they were winning multiple World Series back to back. This team may not be the same dynasty that was back then in the early 90s, but they are bringing in some really good players. And can you imagine if Springer was healthy? This team's 14 and 12 now, Eduardo. Imagine if they were healthy. And their young players that have looked like they were all-stars were playing a bit better. Can you imagine where this team would be? They're
Yeah.
doing it
I
with
mean,
guys you don't expect.
my 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 concern right now is with with Nathan and with and truly with Vladdy to see where to see if that he's not resting enough for the for the crunch time when we will need him. Uh, and I have to say I have to be very positive in what we are seeing from Randall Grichuk. Randall Grichuk has turned out to be that player that no one expected.
But they paid accordingly. Like he's playing to what they're paying him.
Yeah.
He's finally playing to the level that they believed in him. So, he's returning the favor of a good contract by playing well. He has been playing very well.
So the surprise, although surprise or not surprise, is Vladdy Guerrero Jr. And he has his bat has been popping lately.
You know what I really like about Vladdy? What I truly, truly like about Vladdy? He's hitting really great. His defense has been questionable at times, but he hasn't let it get him into the dumps. He's looked really bad at first a couple of times, but he has improved in the way that he hasn't let the bad play be extended through a longer time. He's adjusted and he's starting to become a pro where he's able to, in his head, put aside the bad play and return to being a good player, not dwelling on the bad stuff. That's what makes a pro a pro. That's how you become consistent. And he's done a great job of recovering after making bad plays. Last year was a different story. He'd get into a funk. He's not getting into a funk now. Good for him.
Well, let's go back to the news, my good friend, because the Dodgers just found out that one of their stars, Dustin May, will be gone for the rest of the season. He will undergo Tommy John surgery. A guy that started the season with a 5-0 record. Now it's gone, and I will call it Blue Jay syndrome.
Well,
because both the Dodgers and the Jays have the same philosophy. Let's burn the arms of young people until they have no more, and send them. They did it with Stroman in Toronto. Now they do it with Austin May in LA. So
wow. Well, I think a lot of pitchers they come to the majors pretty worn out. I think we saw that with the Jays and their rookie who wanted to play so badly, and kind of put the Jays in a position where they had to use them, even though there were questions as to whether they should. It is something that that happens. At least now they got Hyun Jin Ryu, and the Dodgers have some depth in pitching that they can recover. I think the Jays can too, even though the big question for them was pitching. LA is a team that over the past couple of years, they've been dynamite, and they definitely have depth. The key for them is to remain healthy, and as always with teams, to play well and to make sure that they have the depth that they can overcome this kind of circumstance. Losing a pitcher who is 5-0, that's not easy to overcome.
No, and they have to really watch their backs because they have a San Diego Padres team that is also built in their division and that is looking to come back. And Fernando Tatis kind of is giving the mark after coming back from injury.
Absolutely.
Uh, I don't know
That's like,
if you managed to watch the weekend bomb show that I called
oh,
507 feet, one home run, the other one 498. He had a double that turned out into an infield home run. So I don't know. This guy can do it all, and I feel sorry for all that money that they gave him is paying out.
and it doesn't matter, how every year it's the same story. The two teams that I admire the most in baseball are the Athletics and, of course, the Twins. Now, the Twins aren't playing that well right now, but one of them's always playing really well with a very low budget. They accomplish so much with so little. You can't help but admire the way they play. I'm really looking forward to watching the Athletics play the Jays. And you're right, as far as the Athletics that play in California, Oakland, their LA partners, their California Angels and company, they've got some good teams out there.
Yeah, I mean, well, Mr. Joe Girardi in Philadelphia is not feeling so good right now.
And he shouldn't.
They lose Bryce Harper now for possibly 10 days. They are saying they don't know how much longer. He's day to day, or they say. And Bryce started the season and even during the spring very well. So it was looking very promising. Now they have one less outfielder, one less hitter, and it's going to be crazy for them because the next three series are against their division rivals. They play St. Louis, the Cubs, and Milwaukee in a great set of series this coming week and a half.
Absolutely.
So
Go ahead.
One of the things, Frank, that I wanted to touch on is the start of the minor league system. Finally, a year without baseball in the minor leagues, and it has been announced officially that they will come back to their home fields, which means there is no Buffalo for Toronto, the Toronto Blue Jays. It's going to be the Buffalo Bisons returning to that wonderful park that was built that was refurbished for the Jays. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Buffalo Bisons and the guys that will be the future of this franchise in Toronto.
Yeah, they're further away from the home base, the major league team. The convenience of Buffalo being where it is, close proximity to Toronto. They're now a little further away because the Jays are down there in Florida and Dunedin. A pretty interesting situation for them. You've got to like the fact that minor league baseball's back. There are a lot of minor league baseball teams, and there are a lot of fans that rely on that league for their excitement. No offense against the Blue Jays and the rest of the major league teams, but there are a lot of minor league teams, and they mean a lot to a lot of towns, mid-sized cities.
So
I agree with you. Good that they're back.
The running joke is that going on in LA right now is that finally David Price can keep his money because he doesn't have to fund the minor league system.
There you go. Yeah, I wanted to mention also Romano of the Blue Jays, the pitcher, to highlight what you're talking about. That maybe they get their arms pushed a little harder. He's throwing at 100+ miles per hour, Eduardo. How long can he do that?
It's not going to be. Well, Romano worked in the off season down in the Dominican Republic, which was interesting. He went down to the DR and was down there with a couple of the big name pitchers, teaching him how to change his speed, including the great Pedro Martinez. So it's I think he learned a little bit about how to control his arm. If you see his delivery, it's a different delivery from that of the previous seasons, and I think he is going to be able to do something. But I don't think that I think he's being overworked until Nate Pearson comes back. It's not looking too healthy for him. He is going to put a lot of innings and a lot more innings that he expected to put.
Absolutely. Eduardo, what do you think of Tampa and them sticking around in Major League Baseball? Will they be around? There's been talk of the Montreal Expos doing something there and maybe sharing some of the schedule. Do you see that? Do you see that happening? Because I have people asking me all the time, is Montreal going to come back? Is Montreal going to come back?
I believe that it's possible that Montreal can come back. I mean, the pandemic didn't help the situation, but I think that there is space for that to be a split season for the beginning between Tampa and Montreal. And see where it can evolve. But I don't think Major League Baseball wants. Well, and we don't know if, depending on what our wonderful Premier Ontario and the Prime Minister decide to do next season, because until next season we won't see the Jays in Toronto. So Montreal might be a more feasible opportunity, because
I don't know.
What's their opening?
I just, I mean, by the time the pandemic is under control in Ontario, it'll be probably Labor Day. And that becomes, Labor Day is just before October, which is playoff time. So, if the Jays make the playoffs, and if the pandemic and the vaccinations that we hope will be rolling out here in Ontario, we only have 3% of Canadians have been vaccinated, Eduardo. So, that's not an inspiring number.
No, and that's exactly what Premier Ford said. He announced already that there won't be any big gatherings of sporting events or entertainment events in the province of Ontario until April of next year. So the Jays have a bit of a leeway to prepare for their comeback. Well, Frank, another show, another day. And I just want to say to our wonderful audience out there around the world that this show can be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network and its affiliates on social media. Remember to go to our website, SpanglishSportsWorld.com, for all the news. And remember, Spanglish Sports World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, but especially live it, because Spanglish Sports World is sport, and sports is Spanglish Sports World. This has been the World MLB Round the Bases with Jeremy Schooler. He will be back next week, hopefully, and take over for me, because I am getting old at doing this. So until then, I wish all our viewers a great a great week. And remember, please stay at home, stay safe in the companies of your family during these pandemic times of COVID-19. And until Wednesday, when Frank comes back with his new show, this has been MLB Round the Bases.
Ding dong. Thank you.
Good evening.